Good morning, my name's Alison Beadle for those that haven't met me. I'm a fitness instructor and personal trainer and yoga teacher. I'm here today to talk to you about menopause matters and the things that you can do in terms of exercise to help you transition through your menopause in a really positive way. There's a lot of stuff in the media at the moment, in the press, about menopause, and it's good that we're talking about it, but there's a lot of negative. There's a lot about these symptoms, that symptom. And actually, the more we focus on symptoms, the more energy we're giving towards it. If we focus on bringing our bodies and our minds into a good point, in a good state, then as we transition and go through those kind of chemical, physical changes in our body, we're in a much better place to do so. So this is what I want to help you with today. There are various ways that you can make changes in your body, for example, looking at stress levels, looking at sleep, looking at diet. But today I just want to go on looking at exercise. So that's my little talk today. The other stuff we'll cover in depth a little bit later if you're interested in joining me. So I have put together 10 points of how exercise can help you. They're not in order of importance, they're just the way that they're popped into my head. So I'll tell you a little bit about each. I'm not going to go crazy, just to give you an idea of why the exercise would help you and a little bit about the physical changes in our body that means that we need to make these changes. So the first thing is it optimizes and strengthens your pelvic floor. So depending on whether you've had children, depending on your hormone levels, as our estrogen levels drop, peri, menopause and post-menopause, then so the elasticity of our tissue goes a little bit, which is why some people say that, you know, their skin gets a bit more wrinkly, or sometimes you find that you're stiffer through your joints because you don't have that kind of elasticity and hydration through your fascia and through your skin. And the same applies to pelvic floor because it is a muscle. It is a soft tissue. So sometimes, because that elasticity drops, therefore your pelvic floor may not be as great as it was. It may be awesome. I'm not saying it's you're not gonna have a dodgy pelvic floor. But my key point here is that exercise is important regardless of whether your pelvic floor is good or not. Because obviously your body's changing, so we need to prepare it. And help to kind of keep it strong and keep it functional. So, and pelvic floor doesn't just mean bladder, it means the whole way from front to back, right the way through to your bowel as well. So we want to look at that. Pelvic floor is also connected into your core. So by having good pelvic floor activation, it's also going to have good core activation as well. The two work together essentially. And then finally, sorry, I'm looking down at my notes because I've got a whole stream of stuff that I want to do. There are so many adverts for, I'm not going to say the brands, but stress incontinence products, stress incontinence pants, and they convey this message that it's all right to pee yourself on a regular basis. It is not, okay? In some cases, yes, you might need some additional help and support, and that's okay, you know, but a lot of the time you can make a difference. You can learn how to activate your pelvic floor muscles. If your pelvic floor muscles are too tight, sometimes there's no way to squeeze. So you might have to learn how to relax your pelvic floor muscles. But either way, you have the chance to make a difference. You do not have to rely on pants and bladder control kind of pants and pant liners to stop you peeing yourself all the time. There are things you can do. It may not get rid of it completely, but you can make a difference. And the main thing is you try. So there we go. Pelvic floor. That's the first thing. Exercise strengthens your pelvic floor. Did you know if you did a squat, I think it recruits approximately about 38% of your pelvic floor muscles. That's pretty good. As you go down, you stretch the pelvic floor, which is good. As you come up, you squeeze the pelvic floor, which is good. If you're doing a lunge, it's around 50%. So you can actually, just by doing a lunge or a squat, improve your pelvic floor. So I'm going to stop talking about that because I could talk about that a lot more, and I will have a talk on optimal pelvic floor health at a later date. Second thing is it stimulates your metabolism. So as we move through beginning, end of menopause, because of the change in our hormonal balance, the different levels of estrogen, progesterone, whatever, we're all very different. But anyway, our metabolic rate slows down a little bit. And we're also more susceptible to stress, which I'll talk to you about in a bit. But the two of those, if you're stressed, then your body doesn't process food as efficiently, which then means it stores it as fat, which means our metabolic rate is not working in the right way as it should. Well, it is, it's doing it to protect us, but actually we want to burn our body fat rather than just stash it and save it for later. So by doing exercise, we can spike your metabolic rate. So when I talk about exercise, I will tell you what types later, but by doing that, we can increase your metabolic rate, which means you're going to burn more calories, you're going to, which is going to keep it as a healthy body fat levels. I'm not going to use weight because you can be, weight can include muscle weight, and often many people do exercise, think they've put on weight, but actually they've put on muscle because it's denser than fat. So we're focusing on body fat levels here rather than weight. Then move into reducing cortisol levels. So I introduced you a little bit about, I just said about stress. When we're stressed, our body releases a hormone called cortisol, which is basically telling your body, get ready to leg it. It has everything going ready to sprint and save your life. So any nutrients that you have in your digestive system, which sometimes would be used for repairing, rebuilding bones, optimal balance kind of through our whole body, they get diverted to the emergency services of your body. So they get diverted to making sure that your muscles are ready to run. They get ready to fuel your brain so it's ready to act much quicker. And these cortisol levels, they can leave us a little bit deficient in terms of nutrition. They don't allow our bodies to repair so well. It interrupts our sleep patterns. And then if we don't have good sleep, I don't know about you, but if I've had a bad night's sleep tonight actually, because last night because my cat kept waking me up. Your brain doesn't function quite as well. You feel a bit like lethargic, and then your mood is affected as well. And then if those things are all affected, it's kind of a little bit of a vicious circle. So by interrupting that cortisol pattern and saying to your body, actually, let's let go of the stress, let's move ourselves back into restore and repair mode, then our bodies can be at optimal physical condition, maybe optimal mental condition as well. The two are very interlinked. And then we stay better, healthier. Any hormonal changes we have will potentially be a little bit smoother. So cortisol levels. And again, I can talk about that for ages and a lot more, but we'll stay with that for the time being. Then I've already mentioned it, improve sleep quality. So these are all kind of, they seem to be streaming through to each other, and what's important to notice is how much these different topics link into each other. So you can make one change and it can make a difference in other things in terms of doing the exercise. So if you get rid of stress, the nervous energy, it allows you to sleep better. Again, as I just said, if you sleep better, your body heals better and just functions better. So by doing the exercise, we're allowing ourselves to drop our stress levels. Again, I will tell you what kind of exercise is best in a minute, but the main thing is it's exercise that you want to do. Yeah. So improving your sleep levels as well. If you're getting all the nutrients, if you're doing exercise, it's pushing nutrients into your muscles, into your bones, into your vital organs. So it's creating a good balance and a healthy body. Again, linked to sleep. And I'm talking about a particular symptom here just because it's been highlighted so much in the media, is hot flushes. Again, hot flushes linked to cortisol. So if your cortisol levels, if your stress levels are high, then you are more likely to have hot flushes. That's not to say you're going to have hot flushes. Some people never experience them. But if you do, you can think about doing exercise as a way of taking down your stress levels, keeping your body at an optimal rate, and then your cortisol levels will be nice and kind of calm. You'll be relaxed and restore, which then means you're less likely to have hot flushes, means you have better sleep. Interesting fact about hot flushes as well, we tend to have them at night time. And they did, and if you do have them at night time, here's my little tip to you on nutrition wise today, and it really works. I've tried it on a few of my clients. Is sometimes if you go to bed and you've eaten a sugary snack or even fruit, like a high sugary fruit before you go to bed, your sugar levels elevate and then they drop whilst you're asleep. Then because your sugar levels are your drop, your body goes, oh, we're running a little bit low on sugar. I'm going to release some adrenaline to wake you up so you can eat. The adrenaline gets released, it wakes you up so you can eat, and that triggers your hot flush. And then you're lying there thinking, oh, I'm hot, I'm hungry, and I can't sleep. So little trick is maybe eat something that's a bit protein rich rather than sugar if you are hungry before you go to bed, like an oat cake with a small amount of nut butter on or something, or maybe you have a low fat yogurt with no sugar in it. But something that has a little bit of protein that will keep you going if you are hungry before you go to bed. And then in theory, your sugar levels should be stable throughout the night and you should get a better night's sleep. There you go. Moving on. So exercise, bringing it back into a more physical aspect, is brilliant for building bone density. As we move through life, we are born, our bones grow until about our 20s, and they're in a progressive, constantly building, growing stage. When we move past that, then our bones maintain a level where they're kind of building, repairing about the same level. So we've got that maintenance of good bone health. And then once we kind of get into perimenopause, menopause, postmenopause, so our body tends to lose less building of bones and more clearing of the kind of old tissue. So this is when we're more prone to our bones becoming a little less dense. Now, if you do a lot of weight-bearing exercise or resistance exercise, and I'll talk about this later, we can encourage our bones to keep their density, to stay strong, to keep repairing and rebuilding if pressure is put on those bones. So by doing some resistance work, we can look into strengthening our bones. It's great for the prevention of osteoporosis. And I will talk about, I've got a whole section on menopause and bone health, so I will do that at some other time. But the key thing is, if you're doing exercise, and particularly weight-bearing exercise, resistance exercise, this is going to help improve your bone density, which can only be a good thing. So whilst we're talking about bones, may as well come on to joints as well. So by doing exercise and strengthening our muscles, more muscle, we burn more calories. So we're getting that muscular strength is going to allow us to keep our metabolic rate at a good level and keep our body fat levels really good. The muscular strength also helps us with joint stability, and the exercise also maintains mobility through our joints. So we build the muscle strength by doing resistance training, but by continuing to move and doing exercise, we also maintain the joint stability and mobility. So as I mentioned earlier, I did say about as we come through menopause, postmenopause, we have less elasticity and hydration in our fascia and muscle tissues. If you're not sure what fascia is, it's like a coating that goes kind of in and out of all your muscles. It's a whole sheet, it's like a giant sheet of cling film that covers you from top to toe, and it's all interlinked. The way that we get liquid into the fascia, into the muscles, is by you drink water, obviously, and then a lot of people think if they just drink water it hydrates them. It doesn't. To get the water into those muscles, you need to move. Bearing in mind that your estrogen levels have dropped slightly, possibly, or your progesterone or testosterone is different, your tissues may not be so hydrated, and therefore we need to move a little bit more to keep them hydrated, to keep you mobile. So, you know, when you kind of wake up in the morning, you feel a little bit stiff and you think, oh, okay, I never used to feel this in my 20s. Well, that's because your joints aren't quite as, your muscles, your tissues aren't quite as hydrated. You've been asleep and haven't drunk much over the night. And as you move, the fluid comes into the tissue and makes you more mobile. So it's really good. Exercise is fantastic for giving us that joint mobility, giving us that strength around our joints. The muscles will also support the bones. So if we've got strong, nice strong bones supported by nice strong muscles, then it means our body is just going to be much healthier, much more capable, and in a better place. So I've talked very much about the physical aspects of exercise and menopause, but the other thing to consider is mental health. And I've said that physical health and mental health are very interlinked as well. So by doing exercise, it enables us to produce good endorphins. to give us that kind of emotional high, to make us feel successful, to make us feel strong and empowered. So we want to do exercise not just to give our body a workout, not just to sweat and keep mobile, but also keep your head in a good space. If your head is in a good space, if we let go of the cortisol and the stress hormones, then our bodies can look after us better. We can look after our bodies better if our head's in a good space. So it's really good chemically to do the exercise for our brains. The other thing is by moving around, again, you're getting the blood flowing around your body. What moves around our body and our blood flow? Nutrients, oxygen. So again, that comes into our brain as well. So if we have more nutrients and more oxygen coming into our brains, also don't forget it's taking out byproducts as well, and toxins. So the more the blood is flowing, the more clearing it is doing as well. So it means we have a really nice clear head. We have lots of oxygen going to the brain, so we feel alert. Our energy levels will be better if you move. I don't know if you've had a day when you feel really sleepy and you think, oh, I'm just going to lie on the settee and do not much and rest. And yeah, a little bit of a rest is fine, but then you get to the point and you feel so sluggish and you think, oh, do you know what, I'm hungry. I can't even bother to get up and get some food. And you get into that real sluggish dip. But actually, if you got up and went for a walk for 10 minutes or jumped around to your favourite music song for 5 minutes, you would feel immediately that the circulation would be moving around your body. You would feel more alert. You would feel happy. You would have more endorphins. And you might be ready to actually get off that sofa and do something. So, mental health and improving our moods. We're almost there. That's taken us nicely into the positive effect on brain function. The other thing that exercise does is it's not just giving you a clear mind, elevating your energy levels, but it actually helps with your memory function. So it's and it also helps with cognitive skills as well. So again, if you've got more blood flow, more nutrients coming to your brain, then it helps to fire up your brain a little bit more so that your memory is better, your cognitive skills, your reaction skills are better because your brain is working at optimal pace. So that's pretty good. They've done some interesting studies actually. I'll be honest, my mum has Alzheimer's and I've been doing a lot of research into exercise, breath work, and the effect it has on the brain. And I've been looking at it from just a physical perspective and also from an Ayurvedic perspective. And there have been various studies that all point towards if you do nostril breathing, and I'll come into this is it's a lung exercise as such. If you're doing nostril breathing every day for a few minutes, and I'm talking like probably 5 or 6 minutes, it's nothing crazy, then it actually, because you're improving the blood flow and the oxygen to the brain, actually improved memory function. And I think they did some research and they found some people reported by doing it for 20 to 30 minutes a day, which is quite a long time. It takes some dedication, I'll be honest. But they reported improvements in cognitive function as well. So it's been an interesting field. I've been reading up a lot about it. Take it as you wish. There are some fields of thought that say no, that's a load of rubbish. But hey, a bit of slow breathing each day, what's it going to do in terms of harm to you? If anything, it will slow down your cortisol levels. So if it slows down your cortisol levels, then your body is going to move into relax and repair. It's going to be in an optimal place to really maintain good body health. If your cortisol levels are down, then the stress hormones are down in your brain as well. So you don't have that manic feel. You have a sense of calm and clarity. So try breathing 10 minutes a day and just see how you feel. See if it makes a difference to you. I've been doing it and it amazes me how quickly 10 minutes goes. You think, oh, 10 minutes of breathing, that's going to take forever. But actually, it goes very quickly. You get so absorbed into it. It's just a complete release and you can just let your body switch off and then come back into the world again feeling refreshed. So my final one, and I've touched on it through all of these, is increased energy levels. So by doing the exercise, we're mentally getting those good endorphins. we're getting the circulation going, we're moving the nutrients and the oxygen around your body, we're dropping the cortisol levels, we're maintaining good blood sugar levels. Even if you have a high sugar diet, if you do exercise, you're more likely to maintain those sugar levels better than if you weren't exercising at all. So you can improve your energy levels just by exercising. Now, some people say, oh, I'm too tired to exercise. And again, I want to take you back to that moment when I said, do you know what? I'm so tired. I'm going to stay on my settee and just have a rest and see how it goes. Getting up, moving is going to increase your blood flow. It's going to get your energy going. It's going to make you feel good depending on what you're doing. And I will say, if you're doing exercise, make sure you enjoy it, because you're more likely to do it, and also you'll feel better about it. And then if you feel better about it, you'll feel more successful. That's going to increase those good hormones, and it's going to make us feel nice. So all of those things, as I've gone through, you've seen how they've just linked into each other, because they are also interlinked. So if you do exercise and maybe think, I want to do exercise to give me good bone density, it's still going to make a difference in other things. If you say, I'm going to do exercise because I want to reduce my cortisol levels, it is still going to do good things. So let's move on to the types of exercise you need to do. There are 3 types that I would say. We first of all have resistance training. Resistance training, a lot of people think that means I am going to have to go and push some heavy weights. Yep, you can do that. If you do heavy resistance work, and I'm not saying go in and start doing Olympic lifting or something, but something that's a little bit heavy that you feel that you have to push into. Maybe do some squats with a weight or whatever, and eventually, again, I will have some programs and some more information on this that you could do if you wanted to try some. But using weights is going to put an extra load on top of your body weight onto your bones, onto your joints, which is going to create muscle strength, but it's also going to create your bone density. So resistance training. Interestingly, resistance training isn't just shifting weights, it's body weight. So it could be body weight exercises like press-ups are going to strengthen your wrists, they're going to strengthen your shoulders. Squats, you've got half your body's weight resting on your legs, so it's going to strengthen your leg muscles, your pelvic girdle, and don't forget the pelvic floor, which I've already mentioned. So you've got that, but also yoga. If you hold a yoga pose for approximately 16 counts, you are putting load through the bone and the joint of your body weight. So for example, if you were doing a downward dog, for those that do yoga, you'll know what I'm talking about. If not, it's where you've got your hands and feet on the floor and you're making a V with your body. So your bum is in the air, you're pushing through your heels and your toes. So half your body weight is moving down through your hands and shoulders, and the other half is moving down through your feet and heels. So you are creating a load on your wrists and your ankles. So you are creating some strength. If you were to do a warrior position where you've got your legs wide and you're sinking into your legs and your arms are reaching out to the sides, you're pushing through your feet to hold yourself stable. So you're actually creating resistance down through your leg muscles. If you're balancing, all your body weight is on one leg, on one foot, on one ankle. So you're creating some strength. If you did a crocodile, or what you would say in the fitness world as a tricep press up, again, wrists, shoulders, and don't forget, again, we're using the core, using the pelvic floor, so as we activate the core and pelvic floor as one. So you're not just getting that resistance work again, but again, you're getting the pelvic floor. That brings me nicely on to HIIT training. In terms of increasing your metabolic rate, maintaining good body fat levels in terms of exercise, this is a great one. Why? Because if you do a sustained level of very high intense activity for a long period of time, guess what happens to your cortisol levels? Goes up. We don't want that. It's okay for it to go up a little bit, but then we want it to come back down again. And it's really important to learn how to kind of switch your cortisol levels back down again. So by doing a short burst of intense energetic work and then having a really calm rest phase and then a short burst again, you can exercise, spike your heart rate, spike your kind of all the work that you're doing, getting a really good muscular and cardiovascular functional workout, and then you rest and the cortisol levels go down. And then you go a little bit of exercise again. But if you do it for a short enough space of time, the cortisol doesn't automatically kick in. So we're keeping our cortisol levels nice and low, but at the same time, we're still working our heart. We're getting some really good, powerful movements through our muscles, creating strength and also endurance as well. Because if you over a sustained period of time, your muscles are going to have to get used to working, rest, work, rest, work, rest, which is a long period of work, depending on how long you're going for. The other beautiful thing about HIIT training is, let's be honest, not everybody else has time to do an hour workout. Yep, so we could do half an hour, 20 minutes, and it could still make a difference. You could fit it in, it would boost your energy levels again, and you're going to get rid of your stress levels, your cortisol levels are going to be nice and low. So HIIT training is really nice. HIIT can be using weights, it can be using body weights again, and you could even have a HIIT yoga. So, you know, there's lots of ways to do it. It doesn't necessarily mean you've got to go to a circuits class and absolutely smash yourself, or, you know, lift big tires, or run up and down a hall 20 times to the beep test. You know, HIIT training can be maybe 20 or 30 squats at the pace, a little breather, then some press-ups, then a breather. You can make it enjoyable to what feels right for you, rather than just going down the traditional, I have to do the hardest workout ever. And then finally, let me bring it into yoga. Now, yoga, for me, encompasses mind and body, and which is why I include breath work as a form of exercise, because you are exercising your lungs. In order to get your diaphragm to rise and fall, to pull the breath in and out, you're using muscles. And also when you breathe into yoga, you're using the tummy muscles to help, and in certain yoga practices you use tummy muscles to help expel the air as well. You feel the pelvic floor lift as you exhale. So this is, as well as breath, it's movement, which is why I've included the yoga. So I've talked about the breathing, allowing cortisol levels to reduce. I've talked about the resistance and the effect it has on bone density. I've also talked about the mobility side of things. So yoga allows ourselves to stretch out the tissue as well. So if the tissue isn't quite as fluid and hydrated, then you get that level of tightness. By moving and hydrating the tissue, you're going to get that level of mobility. So by doing the yoga, we can keep our bodies nice and supple. Good movement patterns mean good posture. Good posture means better breathing. Better breathing means more oxygen in our blood flow. More oxygen in our blood flow, better energy and oxygen to our brains. So just by doing yoga, doing some breathing work, you're going to doing some gentle stretching movement, it's going to have such an amazing knock-on effect in so many other aspects in your life. I've talked about mobilization, but also with yoga, we do a lot of focus on mobilization of the spine. And in particular, with me, the type of yoga I've been trained in, it is all based around the spine. So we have spinal fluid. And again, if you don't move, it doesn't move up and down the spine. And if you don't have that lubrication, how does your back feel? A bit cranky, a bit stiff. So by doing the movement, we're getting the spinal fluid to move up and down. It's giving us a healthy back, healthy posture, better breathing, better brain health, better nutrients around your body. You can see where I'm going on this one, hey? And then finally, I've talked about the hydration in your joints as well. So it's getting the joints moving as well, getting the lubrication in the joints to keep that flexibility, that suppleness through your joints. So just a little couple of stats as well that I found, excuse my look through, just because I always think it's nice to reinforce guidance with, you know, some good stats, back it up. So Dr. Robert Freeman of Wayne State University did some research where women did 5 to 10 minutes of deep breathing every single day. And those that did it reported a reduction of hot flushes. Now this is the group that I said that when they did 20 to 30 minutes every day, They found an improvement in memory and cognitive function as well, brain function. So there you go, step number 1. The University of Granada also did a survey where the participants did a 20-minute supervised exercise program on a weekly basis, and they found that not only did this help with hot flushes, but it also helped with cardiovascular function and blood pressure. So there you go. We've got 3 things just from doing some exercise on a regular basis, and it didn't have to be a lot. And then finally, yoga specific. There was one, didn't actually write who did this actually, but there was a university did a program where they assigned a 10-week yoga program, where people did about an hour and a half of yoga every week for a period of 10 weeks. And those that did yoga compared to the control group experienced a 66% decline in hot flushes. Okay. And the most of that transition, that change happened in the initial period rather than later on. So just by doing some yogic breathing, doing some moving, you can see that you can make a difference quite quickly. These aren't year-long studies. These are a matter of weeks, 10 weeks, 20 weeks. So it's nice that you can do this and see how your body responds. You know, the more you do it, hopefully, the better you will feel. And then this will encourage you to maintain this as a healthy lifestyle habit, not just to get you through menopause, but actually just to keep you feeling good, keeping your body at its optimal level of health, mentally and physically. So I have covered a lot. I'm going to stop talking. But if you'd like to know more, then please do follow me. You can follow me on the Live Well, Be Happy Live Facebook group. If you're not a Facebook fan, I will push stuff out on Instagram. You can also check our information page out on livewellbehappy.co.uk, where I put information there, and I think we've got a subscription list as well. So there are lots of options to follow, stay in contact. This is the first part of a whole series. So eventually I will be covering optimal pelvic floor health, bone health, nutrition, yoga, and this will include eventually some programs. So we will have some HIIT programs, conventional, traditional HIIT programs, maybe a yoga HIIT program, and then we'll also include some yoga. But these are all based on movements, positions, and exercises that will help you transition through menopause. So they're not just a workout. It's a workout where I've looked at potential symptoms of menopause, and there are lots of different types. You know, different people experience different things, but hopefully there should be something for everybody. And even if you don't have symptoms, what's the harm in just looking after your body a little bit better? We all owe it to ourselves. So there you go. It's been lovely chatting to you. I'm 3 minutes over, but hey, half an hour, just about. Thank you for joining me today. I'm going to post this out on various mediums. So if you want to share it, I'm going to put it on YouTube so that it can be shared. If you know people that are interested, share it. If you have any comments, feedback, you can email me. You can Facebook Messenger me, Instagram me. But yeah, let me know what you think. Let me know if you're interested. And I look forward to seeing you again in the future. Take care, everyone. Thank you.